Hi, thank you for choosing to watch this video about becoming a Brilliant Club tutor. My name is Katrina and I am Head of Tutor Engagement here at the Brilliant Club. It is my job to speak with researchers and inform them about the opportunities to work with us, what those opportunities involve and what you can get out of them. I hope this video helps to provide you with all the information you need to make a decision about applying and contributing towards our charitable mission. The Brilliant Club was founded by two teachers in 2011, and since then we have grown to a national charity working with around 20,000 school students each year across multiple programmes, all with the aim to support less advantaged students to access university and to succeed when they get there. We run a variety of different university access and success programmes, but in this video we're going to be focusing on our flagship programme, the Scholars Programme, as this is our largest programme and the one that the majority of our tutors work on. Whenever you look at any of our materials or website, anything related to the Scholars Programme will always have our pink programme logo, as you can see in the top right of the screen. So that is one easy way to check you are in the right place. Throughout this session, I'm going to be talking about why we exist and why I think you should get involved. But first, I wanted to highlight some main reasons why we think working with us is a great opportunity for researchers and why I hope you consider applying. Firstly, by working on our Scholars Programme, you'll be working with young people in schools and have the potential to impact their future. By working with a student in school, you may inspire them to want to pursue a research career in the future. As we have been running our programme for 15 years, we are now seeing some researchers applying to tutor with us who were participants on the Scholars Programme when they were at school. So we are seeing this impact play out for ourselves. Really importantly, our programme works. It supports young people to achieve better grades and to progress to university. By working with us, you will be part of a movement of people working to support young people to reach their potential. In this presentation, we're going to cover a few areas. The first thing we're going to talk about is who the Brilliant Club are and what we do, eligibility for tutoring with us, diving deep into the Scholars Programme and thinking about what tutors do and how it works. We're also going to think about what tutors get out of taking part and what the benefits are to you. And then we'll also talk about the application process and how you can go about applying if you are interested. So first of all, let's talk about why we exist. The reason we exist as an organisation is because access to education in the UK is deeply unequal. Evidence shows that young people from disadvantaged backgrounds are 14 times more likely to miss out on attending a competitive university at higher education. And when they do progress to university, they are 20% more likely to miss out on the top grades. This inequity then continues with them through to their working life, as we know that people who attend less competitive universities don't earn as much as those who attend competitive ones. We believe it is fundamentally unfair that someone should miss out on the life-changing opportunities that higher education can provide simply because of their background. Over the last 15 years, our programme has scaled considerably. Across all of our programmes, we work with schools, students, parents and tutors to help create change and close the gap in access to higher education. Our flagship programme is the Scholars Programme, and of the 19,533 students we worked with last year, just over 15,000 of them took part in the Scholars Programme. You can also see we worked with over 400 tutors last year across 802 schools. Now that we've covered the scale of the Scholars Programme, I'm going to talk to you a bit about where we work. The Sutton Trust's Opportunity Index report from 2025 talks about how a young person's socioeconomic status is critical in terms of what options are available to them, but it also highlights that something just as important is geography, specifically where they grew up. The report talks about how a young person in a low-income family in one part of the country just won't have the same opportunities available to them as other parts of the country. This inequality impacts rates of social mobility across the country, and the report has ranked all 543 local education authorities by Opportunity Index, which factors in a multitude of factors, including attainment at GCSE, higher education progression rates, and employment rates, amongst other factors. Geographical inequality is an important factor for consideration when thinking about where our schools are and where you might likely to be asked to travel as a tutor. We try to work in the areas that need us the most, and because of this, lots of our schools are in rural and coastal areas. We therefore have an expectation that tutors be prepared to travel up to 90 minutes to a school via public transport or car. We arrange all the logistics and reimburse travel expenses. Just to note, we aren't currently working in Scotland and Northern Ireland and are therefore not accepting applications from tutors based in these countries. Being able to demonstrate the impact our programme has is vital in continuing to deliver our programme in schools. We know that attainment is the single biggest predictor of progressing to university, and through our collaboration with the Higher Education Access Tracker, HEAT, we are able to examine the impact of the Scholars Programme on GCSE grades. Using data from HEAT, we can compare the percentage of Scholars Programme students achieving a 9 to 5 in Maths and English with the percentage of students from the same schools achieving a 9 to 5 in Maths and English. Crucially, the analysis accounts for prior attainment at Key Stage 2 to ensure that we are comparing similar groups of students. The findings showed that students who participated in the Scholars Programme in Year 10 were 27 percentage points more likely to achieve a 9 to 5 in Maths and English at GCSE than students within their schools who scored similarly at Key Stage 2. The findings also showed that students who participated in the Scholars Programme in Year 7, 8 or 9 were also more likely to achieve a 9 to 5 in Maths and English at GCSE than students within their schools who scored similarly at Key Stage 2. In addition to the attainment data shown, for the last 9 years, we have commissioned UCAS via their Outreach Evaluator service to independently evaluate the impact of the Scholars Programme on progression to university. Our latest evaluation is based on students who progressed to university in the autumn 24-25 term. We found that Year 12 students who complete the Scholars Programme are statistically significantly more likely to apply to and receive an offer from a competitive university than students from similar backgrounds. As a result, they also progress to a competitive university at a higher rate. This data shows that our Scholars Programme works in supporting young people to get the grades they need to go to university, to apply and to progress to university. Therefore, as a tutor with us, you will be directly contributing towards this aim of supporting young people from disadvantaged backgrounds to progress to university if they choose to. On this slide, you can read a quote from a Scholars Programme participant. We would advise pausing the recording here so that you can read the quote in its entirety. Now that we've covered who we are and what we do and why we exist, we're going to move on to some more of the practical aspects of working with us. For example, who can be a tutor with us? The headline here is that anyone working towards or currently holding a doctorate degree can apply to work with us, whether you're pursuing a PhD or a professional doctorate or any other type of doctorate. You can have recently finished or finished many years ago and now retired. You don't have to be currently working at a university to apply, and you can also be from any subject discipline. As an idea of what our current tutor pool looks like, 37% of our tutors have finished their PhD already, and we have a fairly even split across disciplines, with 38% arts and humanities researchers, 33% STEM, and 26% social sciences. So let's start thinking about what being a tutor involves and how it works. As a tutor on the Scholars Programme, you will be asked to deliver a programme of research-based content to school students aged 10 to 17. The aim of the programme is to support young people to develop their academic skills and university knowledge to support them for the rest of their education and beyond. Over the course of one placement, you will work with 14 students in total, all within the same age group. You will usually teach them in 2 groups of 7. The programme takes place over a period of 3 to 4 months depending on the particular school term you teach in, and involves 7 in-person interactions along with preparation, marking and feedback time. The programme is intended to be a challenging experience for the students, aimed at a key stage where they are currently working at. At the end of the programme, all students will submit a final assignment which the course builds them up to. Each student that submits an assignment gets to visit a university and graduate from that university. In addition to the actual delivery of the programme, you will be required to complete annual training, and a key part of your role is to also talk about your own education journey and your role as a researcher. This is particularly key in breaking down the barriers for young people in pursuing university, as you may well be the first person they have met, other than their teachers, who has been to university. Now you know a bit about the structure of the programme, let's talk about what you will actually be delivering. For our programme, there are two types of courses, pre-designed and tutor-designed. All of our younger age groups, 10 to 13, have a pre-designed programme. These courses are designed by the Brilliant Club and a partner research institution, such as an independent research organisation or a university. They are designed to provide the right level of scaffolding and support for younger students to access the level of content included. Most tutors in their first term with us will be asked to deliver a pre-designed programme before designing your own course. This is to allow you to get a sense of the school environment and the pitch you would need to aim your own course at. It's also a good way to get an idea of whether you enjoy tutoring in this format before you invest the time into making your own course. These pre-designed courses cover a range of disciplines ranging from philosophy and art history to chemistry and economics. We find that most tutors feel comfortable teaching at least one of our pre-designed programmes, and we would always want to ensure you feel comfortable to teach the programme at the level required. Having the opportunity to design your own course isn't guaranteed, although the majority of our tutors do end up doing so. Whether or not you are invited to do this depends on school availability and when you are available. If you are invited to, you will get the opportunity to design your own module based on your own research. This opportunity gives researchers like yourselves the space to reflect on your subject expertise and to design a mini module based on your research project. This introduces our school pupils to topics that extend or are completely outside of their normal school curriculum and gives them an insight into the variety of subjects that they could pursue at university. Consequently, our courses cover a huge range of topics across arts and humanities, social sciences and STEM, and you can see a selection of them here. You will receive tailored support and feedback from the Brilliant Club on how to turn your research into a short course that you can deliver in schools to pupils aged 14 and above. We offer additional training for researchers covering sensitive topics. While you may have teaching opportunities on an undergraduate degree within your institution, it's very rare that PhD students have the chance to design a course from scratch, based on your own specialism, rather than assisting on broader introductory modules convened by a senior lecturer. Therefore, the Scholars Programme is a wonderful opportunity then, not just for our pupils to learn about your topics, but also for you to get experience of course design and delivery. As a tutor, you would have the opportunity to submit an assignment written by one of your pupils to our peer-reviewed journal for pupils' work, The Scholar. This is another place you can really see the impact of your work as a tutor. Tutors can nominate assignments and they then go through a review process to be published. The standard of work our young people produce is outstanding, and I would encourage you to take a look at The Scholar on our website. You can access it via the QR code shown on the screen. Looking at The Scholar will allow you to see the quality of work that our young people produce and gain an insight as to how your role as a tutor would be supporting students to produce work at this level. It is fundamental, and we have lots of tutors telling us that the work school pupils produce is often above their first year undergraduates, providing a healthy challenge for assumptions and development as an educator. So let's look at comparing the two different options of courses. For a pre-designed course, some of the benefits of delivering this type of course would be that all the planning and materials are prepared for you. You can focus your attention on teaching techniques that you learn about in training and developing your pedagogical practice. You would be given a course that is aligned with your subject expertise, so you can still feel confident in delivering it. And the planning is in the same format you would use to design your own course, so it's a great practice if this is something you'd like the opportunity to do in the future. Our pre-designed courses are tried and tested and much loved by our students and teachers. And importantly, most of our pre-designed courses are aimed at younger pupils, although not exclusively. Working with younger pupils gives you the opportunity to inspire students at a young age, which we know can impact their education positively for longer. Moving to think about a course that you might design yourself, some of the benefits of this are that you would get experience planning and delivering your own material, from mapping out what you will cover to how you will assess it. Delivering a course based on your own research is a great form of public engagement, as you'll be sharing your research with the young people you teach, but also by extension their teachers and parents. Lots of our tutors will often say that delivering a course based on their research to young people gives different perspectives, ideas, suggestions for their own research that they can then take away back to the lab or the library or even writing your thesis itself. As we know, research areas are often very niche subjects that students won't even realise you can study, so you have the opportunity of exposing them to new areas and inspiring them to explore deeper into a subject. Being able to design and deliver your own course is great experience for future university teaching, and lots of our tutors say the experience gives them practical tools and techniques to bring to their university level teaching. So, how does it work? As tutor, once you've passed our assessment and onboarding stages, you would be part of our Brilliant Club community. For the Scholars Programme, each term you will be asked to submit your availability, and if you are available, we would then look to match you with a Scholars Programme placement. If you aren't available on a termly basis, that is absolutely fine. You can say you're not available, and then we would just contact you again for the next term. If you are available, you're able to give some details of when you're available, for example, which days of the week, but also if there are any particular dates that you can't do due to other commitments, particularly conferences and things like that. If you're matched with a placement, you would then be invited to attend training. If that placement is one where you get the opportunity to design your own course, you would also be invited to do that. Throughout the placement, you would get support from a programme officer and you would receive a payment throughout as well. At the end of the programme, we go through a period of evaluation, and that evaluation is shared with schools and tutors. Unlike other organisations, we don't enforce a minimum commitment each year, as it's really important to us to keep the opportunity to work with us flexible for tutors, as we understand the demanding and unpredictable nature of academia. However, we do ask our tutors to try to work with us on one of our programmes at least once a year. Importantly, working with us multiple times a year has a lot of benefits, as you only need to attend training once, and once you've designed once a year, and once you've designed your course, you can deliver it as many times as you want. So there are lots of benefits to it being available multiple times a year. Being part of our tutor community gives you access to lots of other opportunities, which we're going to explore through the course of this video. Naturally, we often get lots of questions about what the time commitment involves, so we've tried to outline the time commitment on this slide here. Overall, one placement, which typically involves working with 14 students in one school, is between 45 to 57 hours, depending on whether you design and deliver your own course. The hours include all training and preparation before the course starts, the tutorial delivery itself, which is 2 hours in school per week for 7 weeks. The tutorials themselves usually take place in consecutive weeks, except the final one, which takes place 1 month later to allow for marking final assignments. The hours also include tutorial prep and homework marking, draft and final assignment marking, and admin time. Placements are typically spread over 3 to 4 months, depending on the term. If you have any questions about whether the hours involved are in line with your visa restrictions, you can contact apply@thebrilliantclub.org. We do have tutors working with us on student visas, and the hours outlined on the slide are compliant with them. However, it is your responsibility to ensure you keep in line with your visa conditions. We also have lots of tutors working with us who are funded by research councils, where we understand there is an advised number of hours that a student shouldn't work over. If you are concerned at all about this, we would advise speaking to someone in your graduate school or to your funder directly. We're now going to start thinking about the benefits of being involved, and to start with, we will look at what our tutors develop on the programme. Providing development opportunities for our tutors is extremely important to us. By working with us, our tutors have the opportunity to develop their pedagogical expertise, their research communication skills, as well as being able to develop evidence to support with future job applications. Importantly, 83% of tutors we surveyed across 2024 to 2025 felt that their role as a tutor contributed towards their professional development, and 81% said working as a tutor helped them provide evidence for future job applications. It is also great to see the majority of our tutors saying they have developed transferable skills for future teaching in higher education. When it comes to increasing confidence in pedagogical markers, 61% of new tutors increased in at least one level of confidence for designing and planning a series of lessons, and 49% in marking work using a university-style mark scheme and providing effective feedback. To showcase some of those benefits through the voice of a tutor, here is a quote from one of our University of Nottingham tutors for you to read. If you want to hear more from our tutors, you can check out the array of case studies on our website. We would advise pausing the recording to fully read the quote. We're now going to move on to thinking more about the tangible benefits to you and what you can expect to get out of the programme. The pedagogical training we provide is attended by everyone and covers all the basics, and importantly, it is tailored towards doctoral students or graduates. Core Brilliant Club training is built around 3 core principles of effective delivery to school-age pupils. Firstly, we've got planning. So thinking about what will pupils know or be able to do by the end of an individual tutorial or by the end of the whole programme, and what will you include and why. Secondly, we have participation. What will pupils do? How will you get them to engage? How will you ask effective questions? And then finally, we turn to progress. How will you know what pupils have learnt and how will you support them? Everyone who works with us also completes safeguarding training so that you know what to do if you have any concerns about the well-being of the young people you work with. Alongside these foundational principles, we also have a series of optional electives for your continuing professional development. These include teaching sensitive topics, supporting students with SEN, the British educational system, as we appreciate you may not have gone to school in this country and may benefit from more context about our schooling systems, as well as advanced pedagogical techniques, which we'll cover more in a future slide. Our training is full of tips for delivering your tutorials and ideas that can be adapted for undergraduate teaching too. The training itself consists of online modules and a live training day. You will be asked to attend one live training event each year you work with the Brilliant Club. In addition to our core training that all tutors working on a placement have to attend every year, we have a monthly optional series of online sessions, which is called our Tutor Lab series. Here, tutors can come together to learn more about a particular topic from Brilliant Club staff, participate in discussion and share ideas with one another. The purpose of this initiative is to provide further opportunities for tutors' professional development, as well as to help build a sense of community and collaboration across our national tutor network. Sessions have been designed to help tutors prepare and develop further in their role as a Brilliant Club tutor, as well as more widely in their teaching and research activity. Examples of this year's Tutor Labs can be found on the slide, such as enhancing criticality at Key Stage 2 and 3 and Key Stage 4 and 5, evaluation essentials and relational approaches to learning, plus various sessions about future careers outside of academia, including teaching and fundraising and many more. For our more experienced tutors, we also have an advanced pedagogy offer at our core training each year. We provide this so that our more experienced tutors can continue to develop their pedagogical practice. On the slide are some examples of our advanced pedagogy sessions from the last 3 years of training. They focus on deepening your pedagogy and building on the foundations you've built in previous years working with us. Some further benefits of working with us include receiving support from a programme officer throughout your placements. Whether you need pedagogical or logistical support, they will be there for you. You will also be able to seek references from us for future applications, and we also offer career support through our Tutor Lab series, for example, a post-PhD careers panel. By working with us, you will start to develop an understanding of the fair access agenda in the UK and to develop your practice as a teacher to support students from all backgrounds when they arrive at university. Through working in a school, you will naturally have to liaise with the teachers that work there. This experience will be great to evidence experience of stakeholder management, which can sometimes be difficult to evidence for post-PhD roles, particularly outside of academia. You will also be part of our wider tutor community, including have access to our monthly newsletter, where we share lots of opportunities to get involved in our wider work. By being part of our tutor community, you will also be amongst the first people to hear about our available internships. Each year we host around 6 interns who have their own funding to work in a team with us. Lots of our interns are current tutors, and some have even gone on to work in a full-time role with us. 2 more tangible benefits to your career if you're thinking of specifically pursuing a career in teaching, either within academia or secondary school, are we offer support and guidance on how to use your experience working with us as a tutor to support an application to Advanced HE for Associate Fellowship. The time spent teaching on the Scholars Programme doesn't count as it isn't at the right level. For example, it's not at higher education, but the training and wider development you go through can be used as part of your evidence base. We also have a partnership with Teach First, which gives tutors who have done 2 Scholars Programme placements the opportunity to skip the first stage of the application, the competency stage. These are 2 great ways to make the most of your time as a tutor and benefit your future career. To put a spotlight on how working with us has benefited a tutor's career, please read through the quote on the slide. We would advise pausing the recording here to read the quote fully. Importantly, as this is a paid position, we offer a professional working environment with a host of benefits to you as a worker. Firstly, our tutors are workers, not self-employed, so you pay tax through PAYE, which we understand is important for people on certain types of visas who aren't allowed to be self-employed. The payment for each placement or project covers training and preparation, not just delivery time. We pay monthly to support your budgeting, and we are a living wage employer. We cover all travel expenses. The DBS that you would need to visit a school is organised and paid for by the Brilliant Club. You don't have to have any prior teaching experience or qualifications. We handle all the matching and placement logistics, and importantly, working with us is flexible around research or work commitments or caring responsibilities. Just to touch upon that flexibility point a bit further, flexibility is a really important benefit of working with us because it's flexible around your research and other commitments such as caring responsibilities. We know that research projects have different crunch points and that you will be juggling multiple commitments alongside your studies. That's why every term we ask tutors for their availability. When you fill in your form, you have the option to indicate that you have capacity for multiple placements and to signal days that work better for your schedule. You don't have to commit to tutoring with us every term, but we do expect our tutors to update us with their availability, even if it's just to say, I'm not available for this term or even multiple terms in a row. While we can't guarantee placements, we do our best to match you up with schools in your area. Each term, you can choose to say you are available or not, and you don't have to take a placement. However, at the point you accept a placement, we do say you need to see that commitment through so as to not disappoint the young people involved. The pay on the screen is per Scholars Programme placement. If you design your own course for Key Stage 4 and 5, you are paid a higher rate for creating this, and you can then deliver it on multiple occasions over different placements. Our pay amounts differ depending on whether you're inside or outside of London. It's important to note that this is taxable income and also that it may increase in the future in line with living wage. Now that we've discussed the benefits of working with us and all the logistics, let's turn our attention to how to apply. We ask all our researchers who wish to apply to do so via our online application form. That application form asks you to give your personal information, your academic and employment history, and to answer 3 motivation-based questions. If your application is successful, you will be invited to an interview via Zoom. At that interview, you would be asked to deliver an 8-minute mini tutorial based on an aspect of your research, take part in a competency-based interview, and complete a self-evaluation form. Each year, we process around 1,000 applications, so we have quite a few top tips of common mistakes that people make when completing our application form. First up, make sure you use the full word count for each motivation-based question. It is difficult to answer the questions well in much less than the 200-word limit, so make sure you use it fully. If you are asked for examples of something, try to provide more than one and make sure you are specific in your responses. We want to ensure applicants are using generative AI tools such as Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot, or Gemini responsibly. We don't discourage its use, but we do ask you to use it sensibly, and we have some guidance on our application page to support you in how to use it. The key thing to note here is that our mark scheme is written to look for specificity, which is something generative AI isn't good at. Please don't use generative AI to generate responses to questions for you and use them wholesale. If you do this, your application is likely to be rejected. As a charity that works with young people, we have to carry out a series of safer recruitment checks. One of these is having a full employment history. In your application, please ensure you provide a full employment history, including accounting for all gaps in employment. If you don't do this, it may delay your application. If your application is successful, you will be invited to create an 8-minute tutorial based on an element of your own research. We are aware that 8 minutes is an incredibly limited window, so we invite you to think about just one aspect of your research that you would like to introduce in that time frame. Your interviewers will be acting as 14-year-old pupils for the duration of your tutorial and will treat you as their tutor. This isn't to pose any behavioural issues, but to replicate the learning environment as best as possible. As 14-year-olds, we don't want to sit passively listening to a lecture about your research, but want you to engage us on your chosen topic. As such, do share learning outcomes for the session and plan to make your tutorial interactive. When working on the Scholars Programme, it's likely that you will be the first person doing or having completed a PhD that your pupils have ever met. It's worth introducing yourself as a researcher, say where you study your work and what your research is about. This helps briefly contextualise why you are there. It is therefore a good idea to ensure you do this in your mini tutorial. During the online interview, you will also take part in a more traditional competency-based interview, which will be around 15 minutes long. The interview will ask you to explore your motivations for the role, as well as answer some questions on your previous experience and how you might approach a particular scenario. We encourage you to consider using the STAR method to help structure your answer. STAR stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result, and Reflection. Finally, you'll be asked a safeguarding question, so please do consider what safeguarding means to you in advance of your interview. We pride ourselves on running a supportive assessment process. We are very responsive to requests for reasonable adjustments and have embedded best practice for supporting candidates to give their best performance at interview throughout the process, such as offering a comfort break between different elements of standard and giving interview questions in advance for all candidates. We are extremely pleased that we consistently get positive feedback from candidates. Importantly, we ensure that all candidates who attend an interview with us get feedback in addition to their outcome. So even if you are unsuccessful, you will still have the opportunity to take part in a developmental exercise and receive feedback that you can take forward. Please pause the video to read some of the quotes from candidates who have attended our interviews in the past. So, if you're interested in applying, what should you do next? Firstly, read through the job specification on our website that gives you a lot more detail about what becoming a tutor involves. Consider your capacity to commit to tutoring. Make sure that you speak to your supervisor if you're still doing your PhD to get them on board, as you will need to take time out of the more traditional working day to attend tutorials in school. And then you can go ahead and submit an application. If you've got any questions about your eligibility, about the hours that you would be working or the pay, please email apply@thebrilliantclub.org and my colleagues in our Tutor HR team would be happy to get back to you. We run 2 recruitment rounds each year and we start recruiting in May for the following academic year. It's important to note that the deadlines indicated on the slide are final deadlines, and we encourage you to apply as soon as possible, as we reserve the right to close the application form early. You may also find that we aren't open for applications from certain areas. If this applies to you, you can register your interest to find out when applications will open. Scan the QR code to head to our application page to find out more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video about becoming a Brilliant Club tutor. One way to stay connected with news and updates from us is to follow us on our social channels, and I would always encourage you to check out the rest of our website and look at some case studies from tutors. If you'd like to leave feedback on this information video, you can scan the QR code on the screen, which will take you to a short Zoom survey where you can give us some feedback on the information contained in this video. Thank you for listening, and we hope that you choose to join the club.